How does the Open Space Authority learn about fires in the local area?
We use NOAA, NOAA.gov, and through NOAA we can check the weather. We can also check for fire weather through NOAA as well. That's going to tell us whether there's red flag warnings or red flag watches out there. Generally for the Open Space Authority, anything above 94 degrees is when we stop work and go into what we call hot weather patrols, which is primarily based on safety for the public and heat-related incidences. But however, they're also checking always for fire, and they've stopped any kind of work that could potentially spark a fire.
Once a fire has been identified, what is the protocol for Open Space Authority staff?
The staff's immediate protocol is to ensure the safety of visitors, so they will respond out to the staging areas of the preserves, where they'll assess the number of vehicles, potential areas where the visitors are, and then determine what staff resources are available, sending those staff resources out on the trails to inform people via bullhorn or direct line of contact to please start making their way back to the staging area. If the fire is imminent in the park itself, the reserve, they will assist people by picking them up in the vehicles and taking them back to the staging area so that they can exit.
How does the Open Space Authority mitigate wildfire risks?
For fuel management, a lot of our staff time is spent managing vegetation, and it's take the form of either weed whacking or mowing roads and areas where first responders will be able to park their vehicles in the event of an emergency. So we're taking away all the flammable materials on the roads themselves, on the sides of the roads, and in what we call staging areas, where there would be large multiple response vehicles coming out and staging to fight the fires. In addition to these, we also manage what are called fuel breaks up in the hills. These are areas where it's in road, usually along a ridge. That's where the firefighters are going to catch a fire and prevent it from spreading into the next ridge line over. And in those areas there, we're going in, we're managing the vegetation, usually 20 to 30 feet on either side of the road. By managing this vegetation, it slows the fire down as it approaches the road. This allows firefighters the time to be able to catch the fire, extinguish it, and prevent it from jumping the road into another drainage.
How does the Open Space Authority work with fire personnel during a fire?
So our protocols are to stage in staging areas where the first responders will be able to access our information that we have. Our primary duty outside of evacuating the preserve is interfacing with responding fire units, providing them maps to be able to use for the properties themselves, local knowledge of the trail systems, telling them what roads can be driven in the moment, what kind of firefighting vehicles can be driven on those roads, full fuel breaks where they might be able to decide to open up those fuel breaks to potentially stop the spread of a fire from happening, but really being a local resource to the responding fire agencies.
How do wildfires impact public health?
A lot of times the destruction of the materials, the trees, the bushes, the grasses, allows a lot of soot and carbon material to filter down into the reservoirs, and it basically starts to impact the quality of the water. It also leads to erosion. Without the trees there, without the bushes, the roots then decay, and hillsides the next year or two are critical for watching for mudslides. And again, this is twofold. One is the immediate threat to life and property, and then the second part of that is water quality. Again, as the material sloughs down the hill, gets into the streams, goes downstream into the reservoirs, and it impacts, again, the quality of water and also potentially fills up our reservoirs with sediment.
What should I do if I see smoke or fire at a preserve?
First thing is knowing the preserve and knowing where you are and where the fire is potentially situationally. If possible, start making your way back towards your vehicle immediately. When you see smoke in the local area, listen for any kind of announcement that's coming from staff or responding firefighting units over bullhorns or other forms of communication, and then proceed to your vehicle or, if required, to an alternate evacuation route. For our staff and for the public, it is important to know multiple evacuation routes whenever you go out in nature. So always in the back of your head, understanding where you are in relation to where the fire is, where the trails and roads will take you in those locations, and knowing that if you're cut off from your vehicle, that's okay. Start making your way throughout one of those other evacuation routes that you already have pre-planned in your head. Also, knowing the behavior of fire is really important as well. Fire is going to move faster uphill than it will downhill. Fire is going to move faster with the wind as opposed to against the wind.
Learn more about the Open Space Authority's work to reduce wildfire risks by visiting openspaceauthority.org/wildfire resiliency.